Alright, hello everyone. My name is Vivek and I am a software developer. I make videos about Kubernetes, Go programming language, containers, and software engineering in general. Previously, I have been making some videos around Kubernetes. I set up a basic understanding of what Kubernetes is. Now, I'm actually going to write a very simple REST API, I would say. And then we would be actually containerizing that application, and then eventually we would try to deploy this application on top of Kubernetes. So we would be writing an application from scratch that would be running on host machine. Then we would containerize it using Docker, and then we eventually are going to run it on top of Kubernetes. So this is the motive of these videos. So let's quickly go ahead and try to just draw what we are trying to build here. So we are just going to write an application, REST API, let's say, and this REST API is going to obviously talk to a database, right? So let's say this is the database that I am going to talk to. So in this particular video, we are going to write this particular application, and we don't need to write the database, right? Because we already have plenty of databases available. So in this particular case, we are going to use MySQL. So this REST API is going to actually talk to MySQL database, and then it would try to make some HTTP request. So for example, if a request is made to REST API, we would eventually be trying to, let's say, either inserting some records into the database or try to list all the records from the database. So if we closely look into this particular REST API that we are going to write, this API is going to have two endpoints, and those two endpoints are going to be, let's say, slash API slash v1 slash books, right? And the other API that we are going to have is, I would say, same resource path but different HTTP method. So if I call API slash v1 slash books with HTTP method get, I would be getting all the books from this database. And if I call API slash v1 slash books using post HTTP method, I would be actually storing or inserting a record into this particular database. So in this particular video, we are going to focus into writing this REST API in Go programming language. And in further videos, we can try to containerize this. And in another video, we would actually be deploying this entire thing on top of Kubernetes, right? So yeah, I mean, let's just start with the video. I am going to change the directory to open source. I'm going to push this entire thing onto my GitHub repo so that you can follow along if you want to. Let's create a directory named library and cd into that, and let's open code, Visual Studio Code, into this particular directory. Now since I'm going to write the code in Go programming language, and I'm going to use Go mod as a package management tool. I mean, if you are not very familiar with Go programming language or Go mod, you don't have to worry about that. I'm just trying to make you understand that this is how you can write the application and containerize it. But if you want to learn Go programming language, there are chances that I would be making videos about that as well. So to initialize a Go module or a Go repo, we can just run Go mod in it with the module name, I would say. And in this particular case, I'm going to choose github.com Vivek Singh's easy ideas. This is my repo, and then name of the application. So let's say library, right? So this is the module that I'm going to create, and it says that it has created a go.mod file. And here we see the go.mod file. Now if I just go ahead and try to create main.go file. So this is where we are going to write the entire logic. Now in this particular video, I'm not saying this is the proper way to write Go code, or this is proper way to write or create a REST API, right? I'm just trying to share the process of writing an application, containerizing it, and then deploying it on Kubernetes. So obviously there would be better ways to write the exact same thing, is what I'm trying to say. So package main and then func main. Now since from this particular application we are actually going to talk to the database, right? So we will have to get the database details, right? So let's just initialize or try to initialize some variables from the environment variables. So let's say we are going to need db host, so os dot get environment, and it just tries to get the environment variable named, let's say, db host, right? And we are assuming that db host is from host colon port, right? And obviously if db host is not set, in that case what we want to do is we would be initializing db host with a default value, right? So in that case db host is going to be localhost colon 3306, because we know that MySQL by default runs on 3306 port number, right? Apart from that, we would also be getting the database password, right? So because the database that we want to talk to would obviously have some root password. So what we are trying to do here is get db password again from environment variable, and the environment variable is going to be db pass, and if db pass is not set, then we would be initializing it with some default value, let's say bb string, right? The other environment variable that we would like to get is the API path, where we want to listen, where this particular server would be listening to request to. So for example, this API path that we have here, so API path, and this is going to be from os dot get environment, and the environment variable name is going to be API path. Again, if you don't understand these syntaxes, maybe I would be talking about them in future videos, but I think this is making sense, right? We are just creating variables to store some values into them. So if API path is not provided, in that case we want to initialize it with some default values. So let's say the default value where API is going to listen at is APIs slash v1 slash books, right? And in that case API path should be initialized with API path, right? The another thing that we would like to get from user is in MySQL which particular database we want to talk to, right? So let's just go ahead and try to take that as well from environment variable. So db name, and if db name was not provided in the environment variable, in that case we want to initialize it with some default value, let's say library, right? Okay, here we go. let's try to change this name to so now it kind of explicitly says that I'm a const, right? And we will have to provide comment for this particular variable. Maybe we can do that later. So now that we have set all the environment variables that we want, what we can do is we can actually create a web server, I would say, because eventually we are going to make HTTP request to this particular application, right? So to make a web server, we actually need a router, right? So for example, if a request comes in, which particular function or which particular handler we want to redirect that request to, right? So in this particular case, we are going to use mux as a router. Again, you can use the default one, but I'm just trying to show you how you manage the dependencies and all. So let's just search for mux router golang, and we would be able to see the details about this particular router. So here you can see that you can install this dependency using this particular command, and this is how you can actually use this particular router. So let's just go ahead and try to import this, right? And now if I create a new router, mux dot new router, so now we have a new router, right? And to register a particular handler function with a specific API path, we can use r dot handle func, and we are going to listen on API path, right? And if a get request comes to this particular path, we want to call, let's say, get books, right? And the method that we want to listen on is, let's say, get, right? And it is complaining that we don't have get books function yet. So let's just go ahead and try to create a get books function. So this get books function is actually now going to make a connection to the database, and then would actually try to respond with all the books that are there in the library database. Okay, so get books should have a specific signature, right? So this is the signature func that takes a response writer and HTTP request. So HTTP dot response writer and HTTP dot request, and this should now compile, I think. But now, okay, so now that we have the handler, what we can do is we can actually use inbuilt HTTP to actually run the server. So HTTP dot listen and serve, and we want to listen on 8080, right? And we have to provide the handler. So this is the handler that we have. Now if listen and serve results in some error, you will have to log that. So maybe you can wrap this entire thing around a logging mechanism or something. So yeah, if I just go ahead and try to log something here, let's say get books was called, and if we try to run this, right? So to build, we can just call go build and the file name or output, and we want to call this library, right? So if I just press enter, it says undefined log. So let's just import log, and if I try to build this once again, we should have this particular binary available. If I just try to run this, you can, it seems that the server is up and running. If we just make an HTTP request, we have Postman as well. So we can see that nothing is logged, and it says page is not found because we are listening on this particular endpoint, right? And here we go, getbooks was called. So now that we have the skeleton set up, what we can do is we can go ahead and try to actually connect to the database. So to connect to the database, since we are talking about MySQL database here, this is going to be MySQL. We would be needing a driver to connect to MySQL, right? So let's just Google for MySQL Go driver, right? And if we have a look into this, we would actually be seeing some examples as well. So this is how we can use the driver, and we would also have to get SQL package from inbuilt packages. Now these two packages are not yet used, and that's why we are seeing these issues. So what we can do now is, when we call getbooks, we will actually have to open connection, right? Then read all the books and then close connection, right? This is what we eventually want to do. So let's just write a function that opens the connection, right? And now we want to actually open the connection with using these values that we have, right? For example, host, password, and DB name, and we want to pass that value somehow to open connection. So to simplify that, let's just create a type library, let's say, and this is going to be struct. Let me increase the font size. Yeah, so this is going to be, I would say, struct, and it is going to have fields like db host, db password, db name, and things like that. We don't actually need API path to be part of library. If we need it somewhere, maybe we will add it later on, right? So, and we can attach or we can associate these open connection, get books, all these methods to this particular type, right? So what we can do is library. So now getbooks can be called with an instance of library. Again, I would just share that if you did not understand this, maybe I'll create another video, but you understand what I'm trying to achieve, right? We would just be making a REST API that you can do in any programming language that you are comfortable in. So yeah, similarly, open connection is also going to be called with an instance of library. And let's just go ahead and try to create an instance of library with the fields that we have. So db host is going to be db host, right? And now we can call getbooks with an instance of library. Yeah, so now what we have to do is open connection. So let's first go ahead and try to open the connection to the MySQL instance that we have. Okay, so to open a connection, this is how you make the what should I say, connection string, right? because if MySQL is running on a particular host, not on the same host, or even on the same host, you will have to specify the path where it is running and which particular database you want to connect to, right? So there are chances that you would be having some database in this particular MySQL instance, right? And in our case, that database is library. Okay, so we would eventually want to connect to library, and to connect to this particular instance of library we will have to create a connection string, right? So sql dot open, and obviously we are connecting to MySQL, and then the connection string is going to be of this particular format, right? So username is, let's say we want to replace it with values, so percentage s is format specifier. We have this in entire or every programming language that we have, almost every. Username colon password, so username colon password, right? And then at the rate, and after at the rate we have address, right, in parentheses. So this is address and slash db name, so slash db name, right? And first one is username, so username, let's try to connect using root, and password for root is l dot db pass, right? We can say here db pass that we have taken from environment variable. So and after password we have address, and address is l dot db host, okay? And after that we should have l dot db name, right? Now I am a bit confused if this address should be localhost colon 3306 or just localhost. I'm assuming it should be localhost colon 3306, but let's see. Okay, so now that this open method returns db and error, so db colon error colon equals to this. If error is not equals to nil, so if we are getting some error, right, in that case we want to log that something bad happened while opening the connection to the database, right? And the error can be converted into string by calling this error method. Okay, and we want to return db, right? And type of db is address to sql.db, so that's why we are returning pointer, right? So now that we have the open connection method, what we can do is we can just go ahead and we can call l dot open connection, right? And we now have connection to the database, so let's call it db, right? And now we want to read all the books from db, so if we just db dot query, I think it should take a string, right? Query string and arguments. So we are saying select asterisk from books. So in library database we are going to have a table named books, and we are actually going to insert that things into that table and reading the things from that table. So and it returns rows, so rows colon error. If error is not equals to nil, in that case we want to again log that error was while querying the books table, right? And this is the actual error that we encountered. Once we have the rows, what we can do is we can iterate over rows to actually get the books, and then we can return back to the caller. So what we can do is for rows dot, I think it should have something has next or next. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like it has a method name next. So it is going to be true uh, if the result has a row. For example, if there are 3 rows, this condition is going to be true thrice. And once we have the row, we can scan that particular row to actually initialize the variables. So let's create some variables. But before that, we should discuss about the structure of the book table, right? So let's say this is how the book table is going to be. Type book struct, and it is going to have ID, name, and ISBN. Right now, there is a reason why I am capitalizing or camel casing these, not camel casing, capital casing these particular fields. This means we are exporting or making public these particular fields, and why we are doing that, we can discuss about that later. And if we compare these fields with these fields, we can see that we are not actually exporting these fields publicly. So now that we have book struct, what we can do is, and we have a row from database, we can create variables. So for example, ID, name, and ISBN, and these variables are going to be of type string, right? And if I say rows dot scan, so columns from that. So for example, let's say in books table, we have an entry, right? 123, name of the book is the everything store, and ISBN is ISBN 123. We want to scan these values into these variables, right? So what we are going to do is rows dot scan, and scan those into ampersand ID, name, and ISBN, right? So now we have these variables initialized with the values that are there in the columns for a specific row in the books table. And scan returns an error. So if we got an error, or if error is not nil, we should again, there are ways to handle this. I'm just going to log it as of now, but obviously you can handle it in the way you want, right? So we are just going to say error while scanning the row, and the error is error dot error, right? Now we have ID, name, and ISBN. We can actually instantiate an instance of book, right? So what we can do is book equals to book, and this book should be instantiated. ID should be this, right? Name should be this. So ID, name, and ISBN. So ISBN should be ISBN, right? Now that we have an instance of book and we are iterating over all the books, we should add this somewhere, right? Because if we have this, if we just have this particular variable and we are iterating over all the rows in that particular table, and we are not storing that somewhere, in the end we would just be left with the last row in the table, right? So let's just go ahead and try to create another variable. So this variable is going to be called, let's say, books, because this is going to be collection of book, right? And this is going to be of type book, right? And we can so it can be considered as a list of book, but in the Go's terminology we call it slice, right? So to append something into slice, what we can do is append, what do we want to append? Book into slice, right? Now after this code block is completed, we have this variable initialized with all the books that are there in the database. So what we want to actually do is we now want to return or respond with this books data that we have. So what we can do is we can use JSON to encode this book, and then we can return back to the caller. So what we can do is JSON dot new encoder, and we want to encode dot encode books and for W, right? Okay. So if we see the specification of new encoder, it just takes the writer, right? And we want to write things to response writer. This is the response writer, and eventually we want to actually close the database connection that we have opened, right? So let's just go ahead and try to implement that functionality as well. Again, I'm not saying that this is how you're going to structure your production level code, right? So yeah, I mean, keep that thing in mind. So close connection, and close connection is again a method of library, and this is going to take a DB, right? So SQL dot DB, and then there should be something like DB dot close. If there was something wrong, we should actually handle that by that particular operation failed, closing connection, and the error was this. So it simply means that something went wrong while closing the connection. And here what we can say is L dot close connection, and the connection that we want to close is DB, right? So this should work, I think. Let's just go ahead and try to run it. So let's first see if we have. I was already going through this particular application or example, so there are chances that I have this library database already created in MySQL. We would be actually dropping that. So MySQL root hyphen password is this, and show databases. So it seems we have a database named library. Let's just drop that. Right, and now we want to create the database. So let's just create another file, right? and another folder, and in that folder we would be creating the script that we are going to run in the database, so that I can push it to GitHub, and you can use that later if you want to. So create the database, library, and in that database we want to actually create a table, right? So create table, let's say books, and the structure of book is going to be ID of type varchar, and name again is going to be of type varchar, and ISBN also, right? Once we have the books table created, what we can do is we can try to insert some things into books. Again, we can automate this as well, right? We can create another endpoint in our REST API, and that endpoint can do all these things, because anyway we are going to implement insert into books later in this particular video. So insert into books, and let's say ID is 1 and name is the everything store, and ISBN is ISBN 1. Okay, so let's just try to run this. Yeah, so we now have this one book into into books table, right? Now let's just go ahead and try to build our application once again. Okay, so we don't actually need to use this, we just want to initialize this particular package. So what we are going to do is, this simply means that just call init of this particular package. We are not explicitly going to use this in this particular code, but we are going to use some functionality of that package. So yeah, now that it is built, let's just try to run this. Now it's running. We can go ahead to Postman and try to, how do I hide this? Try to query localhost :8080 / API / v1 / books, right? And if things go okay, it says access denied for user root at localhost, and the reason seems to be we logged in using this particular password, right? But by default it takes this password, and we have not set dbpass as environment variable. So let's just go ahead and try to set dbpass equals to bvik $ing, and now things should work. Let's go ahead and try to make request once again, and here we go. We are able to see the response from the database, right? So yeah, in this particular video I think this would be pretty much it. In the subsequent video we are going to continue this, and we would be implementing the post method, so that we can actually call this endpoint to post a book, so that this would be inserted into the database, right? And yeah, I mean, again, we are writing things from very start, and we would actually be deploying these things on Kubernetes, so that you can actually get to understand how applications are actually deployed, what are the things that are involved. right? So yeah, this was pretty much it, and I will see you in the next one. And if you like this video, maybe you can try, or you can consider liking and subscribing. Thank you so much.